Happy Friday, everyone, and welcome to the Black Vault Alien Files Part 4, where I tell you about the CIA's recently declassified UFO files. If you have not watched parts 1 through 3, click here to do so, and we've done this, 4 times now, so as per usual, hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell so that you don't miss another segment of this series. And welcome to my new apartment. Hopefully I'll have a better wall for you next time. Let's do this. So this paper looks like it's dated May 17th, 1978, and I think that we're in Santiago, Chile. From what I could gather, it looks like something must be suspended if political and electoral violence increases. He, the Bolivian president, said that the government is doing everything to guarantee the tranquility of the country during a program over the state-owned television network. And then we get a name drop. It's Banzer, which is in reference to the Bolivian president Hugo Banzer, who was the president from 1971 to 1978 as de facto dictator, and then again from 1997 to 2001 as constitutional president. And yes, I did have to Google that. This paper takes place just as Hugo Banzer is finishing up his first term as de facto dictator, and states that he hopes to hand over the government to the candidate who wins the elections on July 9th. He publicly supports Juan Pareda, who does go on to become president, but since we're looking at this from the future, he didn't know that. Okay, so finally we're back to some UFO stuff, thank God, because I was getting so tired of this. There's not even office drama. I'm here for the UFOs, and I'm sure you are too, so let's get into it. So on May 16th, 1978, one day before this report is dated, someone received a phone call requesting confirmation of reports that an unidentified object fell in Bolivian territory near the Argentine border. Both Argentine and Uruguayan radio stations were reporting on this even more frequently, and Bolivia had asked for the assistance of the U.S. National Aeronautics and Space Administration to determine the nature of the crashed object. The object seemed to be a mechanical device with a diameter of almost 14 meters, and it had already been moved to Tarija, Bolivia. There's another section after that, but unfortunately I cannot read it. By the way, there is a link to these papers in the description if you would like to read any of them yourselves, and if you can decipher anything that I could not decipher, let me know in the comments. This paper is unreadable and redacted. Oh, here we go. This one's kind of readable. So this one does have a line on it that says prepared and disseminated, which means that it was prepared and spread around by the CIA. Now, unfortunately, these papers do get harder and harder to read, so while I couldn't read the second line of this paper, I could read the third line, which seems to say unidentified flying, and I assume the third word is objects. Okay, so now we're in the meat of the paper, and again, can't really read it, but I can sure as hell try. Okay, so it looks like in early December, they removed a letter from giant redacted line, no idea what that says. It has to be a lot of stuff, because the next word is like Belgium, and so maybe it's in Belgium, from Belgium, removed from Belgium, no idea. And then it says something else that I can't read regarding some unreadable word and delivery info. So I was having a little bit of trouble reading this section as well, but I was able to decipher a few sentences as words, which you can see in this screenshot here. But basically what it says is, as you Americans do not want to tell us what the something called flying saucers are, got that one right, and shove or maybe show all what they, and then something else that I have no idea what it says, and take maybe very important information in the future, and then something else that I can't read. If you can read this, please let me know. For myself, and something observation, which I am, something, the UFO, unidentified flying object, and then something else I can't read, and more, and then something else I can't read of this land, and it's because knights or rights, I'm not really sure. We here look more, again, something I can't read, Americans, period. Okay, next line. When telling, again, something that I literally cannot read, must always almost something, because otherwise, no idea what this says, destroy, what, who knows, even before it's something else. Anyway, thank God that paper's done. So this paper is from, I think, December 10th, 1958. It was a little difficult to read, but it's about a UAO, an unidentified airborne object. See what they did there instead of a UFO? Thought it was funny. That was seen near Leningrad in July 1958. Every number on this list from 1 to 9, aside from 6 and 7, has been covered up, not even redacted. They just straight up were like, here, let's put a white piece of paper in front of these paragraphs so they can never find out what it says. So that was cool. And I gotta say, it must have been some very interesting information for them to go that far rather than just striking it with a black line. Or who knows, maybe someone in the office was feeling lazy that day. But as for point number 6, it says, nothing of interest spurred our Leningrad visit, and on the evening of July 11th, we, the CIA, departed by train for Moscow. They go on to say that it was uneventful, save one incident on the train, where the author noticed 2 bright lights with gray smoke trails rising vertically into the air out of his train window. He could not tell whether or not the lights were propulsion flames of some sort, or whether they were integral parts of a larger object. These objects remained in view for 10 minutes. So the author sees this and he's like, okay, what the heck are those? And brings them to the attention of the Intourist guide. I looked up Intourist and it's actually a Russian tour company. Fun fact if you ever want to go on a tour of Russia. But anyway, the Intourist guide said that it must be satellites that Russia was launching, because what tour guide wants to admit that there are aliens outside? The next section, section 7, says that the author completely forgot about this incident until he was in Moscow and, along with a Russian-speaking member of the tour, decided to take a sightseeing trip that was given to them by a redacted official around Moscow. Okay guys, this is where it gets juicy. So this tour guide that's taking them around Moscow, Ivanov, mentions that he knows that they asked the Intourist guide about these things that they saw outside. And after some banter and joking that I can't really read, he laughs and says, oh, ha ha ha, like what if these were flying saucers? Then he asked, you know what flying saucers look like? They registered total surprise with his concern, and the driver immediately started the car again, pulled back onto the road, and changed the subject entirely. And no one mentioned this incident ever again. Written on America's favorite holiday, October 31st, 1950-something, aka Halloween, the summary of this paper says unexplained traveling bright light seen in the sky. And apparently this paper has unevaluated information in it, which I assume means it was not completely and officially vetted by the CIA, which kind of makes sense because the author was completely redacted. This first paragraph just talks about that night that we just mentioned, July 10th, 1958, where the author saw 2 bright lights in the sky on his train from Leningrad to Moscow. He seems to be the main character of this Leningrad-Moscow saga. Anyway, these lights that they saw were actually trailed by a large tail of blank or black something, maybe smoke, I'm not really sure. The author then says that these 2 bright objects were about 5 to 15 miles away and were about under 2,000 feet above ground. He then refers to the last paper, talking about Ivanov again, and mentioning that when he did have that conversation with Ivanov and it finished, he wasn't sure whether or not Ivanov was joking or not. This next paper is about a Soviet investigation into the aforementioned satellite incident, but you'll have to wait till next time to hear more about that. I'll see you in the next video, the metaverse, what it is, and why it should matter to you. Thanks for watching.